Here's why you can't exterminate us. We're not huddled in one place. We span the galaxy. We need no lords or leaders, so you can't destroy our command. We can live without technology, so we can fight with our bare hands. We have no species or bloodline, so we can rebuild our ranks with others who want to join us. We're more than just a people or an army. We're a culture. We're an idea. And you can't kill ideas. But we can certainly kill you.
This episode we're going to be talking about a personal favourite subject of mine, the origins of the Mandalorians and their early conquest in the Mandalorian crusades. Now, everything you need to know about the Mandalorians is not going to be in this video. It's going to have to be split into multiple parts because it's a very expansive kind of whole lore subject. So, without any further ado, let's get started. So, the Mandalorians originated as a near-human species known as the Taung. These Taung measure around 2 meters tall and had grey skin. They originated on the planet Coruscant that would one day become the seat of the Galactic Republic, and of course the Galactic Empire at a later date. Of course, we primarily know the Mandalorians for their combatant instinct, and the Taung were no exception. They battled from an early stage of their existence against the 13 human nations on Coruscant, known as the Battalions of Zell. Now, you know that old phrase, forged in fire? Well, the Mandalorians were no exception to this. A large volcano erupted and plunged Coruscant into darkness, and the Taung even began going by Warriors of the Shadows as a name. Now, the Taung regarded the eruption as a victory of sorts. Whilst the races of men suffered heavily in these ashlands, the Taung had a distinct advantage. Now, despite the advantage that a Taung had against an individual human, the Taung as a species couldn't stand up against the Battalions of Zell because they didn't have numbers on their side. For this reason, the Taung were eventually driven off Coruscant and guided to the Outer Rim territories by a warlord who we would know as Mandalore the First. Arriving on an Outer Rim planet, Mandalore slayed a giant beast known as a mythosaur. These beasts can only really be explained as four-legged and of near city-sized proportions. This victory made Mandalore the undisputed leader of the Mandalorians, due to the ancient warrior code. So great was the victory that the skull of the beast became the symbol of Mandalore to this present day, and that's what the sigil is for the Mandalorians. It's the mythosaur's skull. The Taung named their new planet Mandalore in honour of their new leader, and members of the clans and culture began going by Mandalorians, and this is where the name comes from. They're actually named after Mandalore the First. They quickly became seen as the most elitist of warriors in the galaxy, but it's not good enough to just have a title. The Mandalorians needed to prove it. Now, the Mandalorians were somewhat of a clan-based culture and were known to wear the most advanced of armour, known simply as Crusader armour. The armour varied from soldier to soldier. Their main form of identification was the infamous T-shaped visors, which Mandalorians still use to this day. The Mandalorians continued to live by their strict warrior code, holding them to a certain level of honour, if you will. They continued to expand throughout what was now known as the Mandalore sector. They quickly took the planets Ordo, Gargan and Shogun, but faced more of a problem when invading the planet of Mandalia. Here they faced against the fearsome Mandalian giants, a reptilian race that towered above the average Mandalorian crusader. The giants repelled the Mandalorians' initial attack, but impressed by their resilience and strength, many of the Mandalians decided to join the Mandalorians in their crusades. This is what is meant when I said the quote earlier. Mandalorians weren't species specific. For example, when freeing slaves on the conquered planet of, excuse how I pronounce this, Iscalia, they integrated many of them into their culture. Now saying this makes the Mandalorians seem rather admirable, if you will, but these crusaders had a dark side, a very dark side. When the Mandalorians continued their crusades, expanding throughout the Outer Rim, the Crusaders clashed with the Na'vi, a species with a proud culture. So fierce was the Mandalorians' campaign that the entirety of the Na'vi species was wiped out. This became the definition of warfare to the Mandalorians in the form of Cad Hagriga, or Destroyer God. This was the driving force for the Crusades, and the Destroyer God was a deity that many Mandalorians followed with their, well, warrior code. It's an interesting subject, but I think I'm going to go into that in a more separate video, because it's quite an expansive one, the idea of the Destroyer God. Another example of brutal conquest was the planet Basilisk. Here the Mandalorians would face the native Baliskians, as well as a Republic relief force led by the Jedi, who had been ordered to stop the thriving Mandalorian crusades in their tracks. This didn't stop the battle-hardened Mandalorians, who overrun their enemies' lines. Seeing that their cause was lost, the Baliskians chose to poison their planet to stop the Mandalorians from conquering it and using it. The Mandalorians, unable to reap the world, chose to move on, not without taking a sizable amount of lethal Basilisk war droids, which are kind of famous in Mandalorian culture as their special mechanical mounts. As well as this, they captured quite a lot of reptilian Baliskians, who after generations turned into savage war mounts for the Crusaders. Again, this is kind of a show of brutality in terms of the Mandalorians, in the way that they turned an entire culture into, well, war mounts. Although it may have been Mandalore the First who began the Crusades, he did eventually die, and who would take up the seat of rulership over the Mandalorians? Well, over time another champion emerged, known as Mandalore the Indomitable. He took the title of Mandalore, which translates as Sole Ruler. Now, seeking new conflict under this new Mandalore, Mandalore the Indomitable, went and had another crusade and headed into the deep core. He wanted to target something that was named the Empress Teta system. This was a vastly expanding empire that had conquered and expanded quickly, faster than it could really comprehend. The system was bloated and known to be corruptly governed, and was therefore an easy target for the battle-hardened Crusaders. The Mandalorians quickly invaded and took the planet Quor, and quickly caught the attention of fallen Jedi turned Sith Ulic Queldorma. Sensing how elite warriors of Mandalore could prove useful to Droma, he usurped some of the forces of the Empress Teta system, and then challenged Mandalore the Indomitable to a duel. And despite the use of a Basilisk war droid, Droma defeated Mandalore, and due to the strict warrior code, Mandalore and his forces were obliged to ally themselves with this Sith, and this was the first Mandalorian-Sith alliance. Now, I don't really know why Mandalore the Indomitable was called Mandalore the Indomitable, because as you'll find, he has a bit of a knack for being defeated. With the combined forces of Sith Lord Droma and the Crusaders, they struck out against the great enemy of the Republic, attacking Republic shipyards, which gained them an entire fleet. From here they continued invading all the way to the Republic's capital planet of Coruscant. Yes, the Taung returned to their planet of origin, backed by the Sith and a variation of other species carrying the name Mandalorian. The capital city of the Republic was set ablaze by Crusaders riding their fearsome Basilisk war droids, and victory could have been achieved for Mandalore and his Sith allies, but Droma, the Sith Lord, was betrayed by one of the leaders of his military, who ordered the retreat, convincing Mandalore that Droma had been slain. In reality, Droma had been captured and left to the mercy of the Republic. Now, Mandalore eventually uncovered the plot behind Droma's supposed death, but feigned allegiance to Droma's betrayer who had taken his place. Mandalore, unsure on what his next course of action should be, travelled to Yavin 4 to seek counsel from Droma's Sith Master Exar Kun, who agreed to attack Coruscant in effort to rescue Droma. Exar Kun and Mandalore and his Crusaders raided the Senate building and rescued Droma, following which they dealt with the perpetrator of Droma's betrayal and continued their crusade. With all respect to Mandalore, he took an honourable course of action as opposed to the easiest one, so you have to have a bit of respect for him. Even if he did kill a lot of innocent people whilst doing it. Unfortunately, Mandalore's loyalty to the Sith could not save him from his own end. During a conquest that turned sour when the Mandalorians' fleet was destroyed by the Republics, Mandalore attempted to pilot him and his war droid riders over a remote moon to escape the slaughter. Mandalore's basilisk war droid was shot down and he crashed into a dense jungle. He was then overcome by savage native beasts. He fought to a bitter end, the way many Mandalorians wish to go. Mandalore's body was recovered by a crusader, who took Mandalore's mask as his own, and with it came his title. But this story is far from over. So, that's the end of part 1 of the Mandalorian video. If you did enjoy this video, please do like, comment and subscribe. And if you would like to know who this mysterious Mandalorian was, who became the next Mandalore, remember to thumbs up this video so I can get working on it. Thank you for watching, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.